Are you all able to hear and see me?
I can hear you and see you.
Perfect. There's an echo. Um, this is weird. Do y'all hear it echo? Yeah. Do you still hear it echo? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna go out and come back in. If everybody get disconnected, just log back in. Testing. Can you all still hear me and see me? The echo went away.
I think it sounds better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. But happy Sunday, everyone.
Happy
Let me make
Sunday.
sure this is recording. It is. So I have to ask before we get started because there was another group before this group. Are you all social workers? Okay. Because if
Yeah.
you NCE, you can stay, but I'm not an NCE teacher, although some of our work coincide. But like I said, there was the NCE course before this one. So again, it's Sunday, and I'm your country tutor here from Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm Sherry. If you are you from Memphis, Lindsay? Oh,
No,
okay. I feel like you
cool.
got excited for a second. I was like,
Being out of New Jersey is exciting. I'm just kidding.
oh. So yes, I'm your country tutor from Memphis, Tennessee. And what I found out is some of you all know me before you actually meet me here, because I think y'all see me on various settings throughout. If you don't know, Dr. Pam and I, we rotate this platform. So if you sign up for private sessions with either one of us, you most definitely get to join on this session on Sunday. So if you are preparing where we are before I get started tonight, we really want our students to pass. And I don't know, I'm super excited. I always say, if you don't know my story, I'm the LCSW who took my clinical exam 13 times. I have no shame in my game. Yes, I
Thank
did.
you for sharing that though, because I'm on
Yeah.
my third time.
Yeah. So I have no shame in my game. It made me stronger. It made me come off a whole lot better. I found out where my discrepancies were. I was a student of Dr. Pam and Ollie. I started working for Dr. Pam as a tutor while I was studying for my LCSW. And my students who I was tutoring were passing, and I wasn't. So that lets you know I got some magical power somewhere. But now I was an LM before, LAP before LC, LM before LAP. And so I always tell people when you pass one exam does not mean you're going to pass the next exam. I don't know what it is. But needless to say, I'm here. I do what I love. I love what I do. I've been now working for Dr. Pam for 3 years and I love it. So tonight we are going to do questions. We have 2 hours. What I like to say is I just want to say if you all are preparing for your exam, I've had a flux of students that's been coming lately, like I need one session, I need two sessions. You all please sign up for 12 sessions. If you need to sign up for one or two, I get it, do it. But to get the max out of it, go ahead and do 12 sessions. I promise you it'll benefit you. There are some students out here that I work with. I give homework. I don't know what Dr. Pam does. Um, I make you all do PowerPoints. You all teach me. So my classes are very interactive. And in 3 months, I've had 7 students to pass. And also in 3 months, I've had 3 students that did not pass. So that's the game. And tonight we're going to work on studying. If you ever get on a call with Dr. Pam, she would disconnect you if you turn your camera off. So unfortunately, I have to do it because she goes back and watch these videos and I get in trouble if I let you stay on. So if you so happen are still on here, it's because I didn't see you. You was one of the lucky ones. We do ask that you participate. And before we get started, we're just going to go around the space in like 1 minute. It's called an elevator speech. You're going to introduce yourself, tell us what your focus is, or just briefly where you're from, LC, LM, and that's it. So Lindsay is first, Angela is second. Is it Melissa?
Milcia. Yeah.
And I'm country. Do you have a nickname?
You don't want to know.
Okay, so
It's a very
what
feminine name.
can we call you MM tonight?
Some people call me Mil.
Okay,
Milcy.
meals. We're
Yeah.
gonna go for meal because I know names are important and then mastermind. So in that order. All right, Lindsay, it's your show.
I'm Lindsay. I'm from New Jersey, and I get to sit again for the LCSW in August. I took it once in April, missed by 1 point, and then took it again in May, missed by 12 points. I've been working at a private practice since 2019, and a lot has happened between that. So the fact that I'm sitting right now for the test is amazing that I got to this point. So a lot of personal stuff has happened. So I'm glad I found this too, because standardized tests have never been my strong point.
I am going to say this from personal experience from the person that took the exam 13 times. What I find, and I found this in myself and I see it in the students, when you miss by like one, the example you gave, and then again, it's something major you're missing. And at that point, it's like, but how did I go from 1 to 12? And so just keep that in mind. But I'm glad you keep your spirit going. Okay, Angela.
Hi, my name is Angela. I am from Chicago. I currently have my LMSW. I work at the VA. Um, I will be sitting for my LC for the first time in August if I don't switch the date again. But I took my LM 5 times. Well, on the fifth time I actually passed. I don't have test anxiety, but yeah. I just sometimes don't sit down long enough to study.
Yeah, you got to get this. The LC is different, but you seem like you happy. Don't change the testing date again. Just go for it. Don't let the test is changing. Don't let all that stuff get in your head. Don't get caught up with what your peers at the VA doing. Just focus on Angela. Thank you. Neil.
Well, yeah, I'm Milcy. I'm Mil. I am trying to take my LSW. This will be the third time I go. The first one, I must say, I thought I was gonna get it, but I went without studying, so lucky me. The second one, I was like 5 points off for passing. Not too bad, but still trying to find how to focus on the questions and not get all worked up and overthinking, trying to answer. So yeah, I was trying to find more support because I don't care if I have to continue taking it. Like I want to feel like I'm gonna be persistent until I get that goal. But I also want to tell myself like get help if you need it in case
Yeah.
so you can make it faster. So that's what I'm trying to do. I work in a nonprofit, so they are drug and alcohol, mental health clinics. So they have a lot of other services. Like been there for a while. So I'm hoping to, yeah, get that license and continue to grow. So
Let's
we'll
work
see.
on it. Let's work on it. We'll see. We'll see. So congratulations on that.
Thank
A
you.
and D. That's the place to be right now. All right, Mastermind.
I am Mastermind Masterpiece. I'm from Detroit. Yeah, I'm from Detroit, and I test in August. And yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, all testing in August. What a coincidence. Okay, well, the end of August. If anybody don't know me, you would know that the end of August is my birthday. I'm a Virgo, and so I typically like I'm not all the way with Dr. Pam, and she travels like every month. Once I became self-employed, I used to travel like 4 times a year, but now I'm self-employed. It might be twice a year, but I will be in Greece the end of August. So y'all. When I see me, thank you.
Oh, that's my
Taking a
one
trip around
place.
the world, yeah. All right, you all, we are going to get into, let me pull up my screen. All the material that you all see here tonight, you will receive it, if not tonight, tomorrow by the staff. If you've had my course before, I always say if you see the material again, it's good because what we need is repetition. The other thing I like to tell students is we don't memorize. When Sherry is teaching, when Dr. Pam is teaching, the ultimate goal is to learn content when you are preparing for whichever exam, whether it's LM, LB, whatever. I've given you all an introduction to myself. I will say, typically when I'm doing groups, my grandson is here. I have a grandson, and I'm knocking on 50's door. His mom just drops him off, and he goes to another space. Occasionally, he'll come in and say, "Can I say hey to your students?" And you'll see me doing it, telling him no, but he's still gonna find a way to get on the camera and wave. But I am in my office, which my office is in my home in Memphis, Tennessee again. I'm also a part of the sandwich generation, which is something that doesn't show up like that on the exam, but that means I take care of a kid and I take care of my parent, my mom. My dad is deceased. I love what I do. I do what I love. You'll hear me say that all the time. So I give energy, but I will match your energy to let you know, hey, we got to get, you say you want to be here, act like it. Uh, Not only am I a licensed clinical social worker, I'm a wedding officiant. I have a nonprofit that now is a for-profit. I have my own private practice. I own transitional homes here in Memphis, Tennessee that house victims of domestic violence. I got a play that comes out in October. But in addition to, I love to see you all win. So when I have students on an individual level, if you pass, not pass, but if I see your score increasing, I just get happy to see that. So I'm also, as a certified life coach, working that in this arena. And so I'm the basketball coach tonight. You all the players. I give you the board. You go out there and run it. Tutoring is about you. If you're not focused, if you're not you, it's like therapy is, but isn't, because I'm on a recorded call, so I have to be careful what I say. But therapy in the sense that when you see your therapist, and I'm a therapist with a therapist, but if I don't try to do some of the interventions that we discuss in our session, it doesn't work. So you just don't come to your session and say, oh, I'm gonna get everything in 2 hours and I'm done. No, you have to put in the work afterwards. So some of the things I tell my students is just always have a positive attitude. Make sure you don't deter from your schedule. Are you all able to see my screen, Mastermind? You didn't tell me. Oh, okay. Because
Yes, I see.
sometimes Mastermind know I'll be talking and y'all be like, what is she talking about, a screen up? I'm not computer savvy. I'm getting old, too old for this. But don't deter from this schedule. So Dr. Pam is going to say, I need you to study 3 hours. Sherry Bogart is going to say, if you know your brain capacity is only 30 minutes, do 30 minutes a day. But if you know your brain capacity is an hour, do an hour every other day. And so sometimes you have to start in increments just to get to that 3 hours. But 3 hours a week is what I do suggest. Um, Also, when you start talking social work, you know you are really getting there. Like when your man, your woman, your whoever, your kids, even the dog, like dog, here she come, then you know you're really getting somewhere because everybody's like, okay, when did you start using those words? Which is very, very good because our language should be changing as we increase in this role. Whatever you do, I work in a private setting. Sometimes I'm about to tell a fib a little bit because I do not miss the workplace. But sometimes I miss being around coworkers. With that being said, I remember when I was in the environment and all of my coworkers was passing their exam, it weighs on you. It truly weighs. Yes, it does. But what I'm gonna say is just congratulate them, the job, give them parties, and then they be like, girl, I just got a raise. That really was weighing on me. Listen, like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. But congratulate them. Don't hard, I had some hard feelings. I won't lie. And it's real, it's normal. Because you're like, what am I doing that she did? I did the same thing she did. But that's the thing. Don't get wrapped up in what the next person doing. You are you and they are them. Um, I cannot say this word on this call, but I can highlight it. And so what I always tell my students is get the free version of that, and every morning get up and just do the question of the day. Free version, do the question of the day. I always tell students what you do is this is what I used to do. And I still do it, believe it or not. I get up, I get my smart device. I primarily use my phone. I have a tablet in my hand, a writing tablet, paper and pen. I write the question. I write all the answer choices. I scratch out two, or sometimes you have three choices, sometimes you have four. And then I circle what I absolutely think is the answer. And then I go back to my smart device and I select the correct answer and I go from there. Also, I'm a Virgo, y'all. So I like organization. And one thing I found out is that really organization is the key. So if you're watching socials, this, and you watching this person and you watching that person, I'm not going to say throw away your material, but what I'm going to say is I was studying with 5 different people. I was doing therapy development, Dr. Pam, Phil, and no telling what else I was doing. It worked for me, but you got to figure out, does it work for you? Because sometimes I have students say, well, I do this and it said that. And I'm like, I'm not going to go against what the other company said. I'm just going to tell you what I know and we can keep it going. But I say all that to say, take one binder, like go to your local Walmart or whatever, Dollar Tree, get you a binder, get you some dividers, and put all your information in one thing. Please stop having sheets of paper over here, over there, and over there, and one in your backpack at work and one in your backpack at home. Just get organized, seriously. Um, and remember, again, you can do one session. I have had students that have literally come, actually, 3 of the last 7 only had 3 sessions with me. It was just, they was kind of like me, or like, I'm stuck somewhere. And we went hard in those 3 sessions. They went harder after those 3 sessions, and all three, and 2 of them was friends and didn't even tell me after the fact. They was like, oh yeah, we were friends. But they ended up passing their exam. I can't. I also want to say, let's take the word luck and 4-leaf clovers, all the superstitious stuff, get it out of your head, please. And understand that yes, you're going to spend money. How much did I spend in the course of taking my LC? $20,000, but it was worth it. I was hypnotized. I was taking anxiety medication. I was seeing my therapist. I was doing EMDR. I thought I was going crazy a little bit. So if you feel that way, yeah, it does, because it's something you really want. And so you have to make the decision if you want to quit or keep going. But try to do 3 months. That's roughly 12 sessions. Okay. Y'all probably like, do this have anything to do with test taking? It really does. Everything that I'm telling you does. So when it comes to test taking, content, content, content. Lindsay, no offense, but our exams are written by white females, majority white females. And so when it comes to any people outside of white females, a lot of times it seems hard. And it's because we don't all think alike. And the reason is because our level of learning is not equivalent. And if you want to challenge me on that, actually pull up the NASW. It's statistics that shows they went out and did a research and they identified this. Now, when you become an LCSW, you can actually write questions, but even when you write the questions, it still has to be approved before they publish your question. So with that being said, a lot of times Black women or other minority women do not pass this exam. Black men have a higher chance of passing it better than Black women. But it has nothing to do with all of that. The concept is we just have to learn how to think like our peers. And if you've been working in your profession like I was for ages, I've been in the field for 25 years, you will find yourself taking the test the way you work. Example. So in real life, a lot of times we have a client we've been working with forever, and the mom comes in and say, I whooped Devontae butt so good last night, Miss Bogart, that he was seeing stars. Well, we've been working with this family for 6 months. Theoretically, we should be calling Department of Children and Family Services. But no, no, we've been working with Devontae and his mom for 6 months. So we're like, well, we already know mama, and she have 3 jobs, and she was a little frustrated, and Devontae don't have any scars on him. The one, at least you didn't see, even like you said, Devontae raised your shirt up. But on the exam says we report no matter what. Well, it doesn't always say that either, but typically it's like you're going to report off of suspicion and you're going to report that. But in the real world, we cut corners. And so that was one thing Dr. Pam got on me a lot about. She was like, how did you get that answer? I was like, well, I'm a crisis counselor, I'm a crisis assessor, and that's what I would do at work. She was like, well, you ain't at work on this exam. So if you are taking this exam the way that you work, stop. Because you cutting corners at work. You probably got your psychotherapy notes tucked in the file cabinet at work too. But the exam says, no, we keep those separate. So things of that nature, you just clearly have to keep in your mind. The next thing, so the big takeaway I want you to understand is you have to learn how to not only read, but you got to be able to comprehend what you're reading. So that's why people say when there's 4 choices, well, it seems like 2 of them are the correct answer. Well, sort of, kind of, because at the end it'll say, what is the best? What should the social worker do? So yes, there's a possibility, but one of them is the better of the two. I don't know if you all saw, it was a race about maybe 3 months ago. And this guy, he was like right there I want to say it was in New Jersey. I can't remember, but you can Google it. The guy was like right there at the finish line, white guy. He's at the finish line and he wasn't paying attention. And this black guy just comes up like inches and go right past him, go through the finish line. So, there was like 2 answers, but only one was the correct answer. And it was the one that superseded that. So you got to keep that thought process. Remember, you have to change the way you think. So when I say vignette, we are used to saying questions, but now we use the word vignette, scenario, question, answer choices, things of that nature. You're going to hear words like entropy, negative entropy. I didn't know any of these words either until I started. Well, I'm like, what is some negative entropy? I know what negative is, but what is entropy? So it's things of that nature. Inter versus intra. A lot of times I see students all the time. I say, what's a psychosocial assessment? And they're like, and I'm like, and they're like, and I'm like, I need an answer. And we use psychosocial assessments at work every day. But when somebody asks you what it is, you can't even describe it. So those are things that we're looking for as well. You also have to understand there are several type of questions. Recall questions, recall questions, recall. That means you should know it. Now, everybody's like, I know ethics, but 90% of us don't do well on ethics. And it's because we take away from it, we add to it. Well, the code of ethics says we're not supposed to sleep with our client. The code of ethics didn't say that. We interpreted it that way. The code of ethics says that if we sleep with our client, we take full responsibility. But some people are like, well, what is full responsibility? Full responsibility means if our client ends up detrimentally hurt mentally, physically, emotionally behind us taking that relationship, being in a relationship with them, then hey, when they take us to the board, you would lose your license, you would be sanctioned, all that other stuff. The Code of Ethics also says that you should be aware of when agencies aren't working in best practice. So if there's agencies out here wrapping gay people up in rugs and burning them and banging on the rug, no, that's unethical. But guess what? Things like that are happening in real life. And if your gut said, I don't think this right, that means I don't care if that job is paying you $200,000 a year. You better get out of there and report it. And that is a test question. It doesn't say it exactly like that. But ethics is recall, research is recall, And I was probably like 90% of you all like research. Oh my God. In undergrad, my undergrad study was sociology. I was like, what the heck have I got myself into? Nothing but research. But in the end, we need it. And if you end up becoming a research social worker, there's so much money out there in that field, as well as being a policy social worker. So keep that in mind. So recall questions, ethics, and research. We know it. Once we get it and we get it the correct way, that's something you don't have to guess on because you should know it. Questions, comments, concerns behind what I've talked about so far. Okay. So, what you should know on the exam, when we're looking at the vignette or the question, we should be focusing on, there should be words popping out. And it's going to say, the couple came in, it is a family. This is an individual. The social worker is working with the community. But when we see words like that in the vignette, we should automatically be thinking couple. Typically on the exam, couple is going to be two females, two males, a male or female. And they're coming in, a lot of times they're either coming in because they're trying to have a child on the exam, they are trying to get some type of services, or it's probably some domestic violence. Not all the time, but sometimes. Those are how those couple questions look. When you are working with a couple, that means you don't work with them individually. So if the session is from 5 to 6, and then at 6:50, they leave your Zoom call, or they leave your telehealth session, or they leave your office, and then one of them call you at 6:15 because they driving home in separate cars. You don't have a conversation with that one person. You tell them they have to bring it back to the next session. And just so happen if they get it out like, Miss Bogart, I really want to tell my wife tonight I do not want to be with her anymore. You're going to say, okay. In that disclaimer, when we first started talking, that means when we start our next session, you're going to bring this up in the next session. It may or may not show up like that on the exam, but most definitely in real life, it does. And so when we say, why is this test really challenging us? Because if you want to be a LC, remember 9 times out of 10, you're going to be on your own and you don't want to lose something that you worked so hard for. So questions, comments, or concerns about couple. All right. Family. Family. I love family. On the exam, typically it is one person that brought the whole family in. But you can't just treat that one person. So typically it's the parents just they have 4 kids, they just had a fifth child. That fifth child now is a few months old. They found out this child got cancer. So now the family is giving this baby all this attention, and the other kids is just kind of wilding out. You got to be able to identify, is this a Eric Erickson question, or is this, because sometimes it got some ages in there, or is this a family question? And so once you narrow it down, so you got, okay, this is a family question, then you got to be able to pull the words out that are very important and say, okay, this is family. But again, you focus on the family. Yeah, you're going to talk about everybody individually in the session, but that's so you can bring them back together collectively so you can start working on the problem. But you as a therapist, you would be dead wrong if you just focus on the 15-year-old who just got caught smoking pot in the bathroom at school. Well, he probably was smoking because his parents not paying him any attention anymore because they're focusing on the new baby with the cancer. So you have to be able to distinguish all that and be able to say, so mom, have you been giving Jacob some attention? Because Jacob said, well, since this new baby is here, they don't really care about me anymore. So those are things that you're paying attention to. But sometimes you can have a family and it can flip on you. This is why you have to be able to read, not only just read, but understand content. Questions, comments, and concerns behind family. Is it making sense so far? Okay. Individual. Is an individual micro, macro, or meso? Y'all can say it all at one time or whatever.
Like
Micro, meso,
It could be
micro,
all three, right?
Yeah.
no, ma'am.
Yep.
Well, I
Angela,
mean, well, no, individual obviously is micro,
there
but
you
it depends
go.
on the system that they're engaging in. Would that make it one or the other?
Angela, we're not gonna add anything else.
Okay,
So, Angela, again, what is individual?
micro.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. Another thing, Angela, and here's the thing. I'm one of the best coaches in the world. You have to toot your own horn. I want to make sure you understand stuff. So I bring humor to my session. So don't walk away here being mad at me. But
Oh,
you're going to now remember micro is individual. Don't add all that extra stuff to it. Please don't. And that's another way we tend to mess ourselves up because we'll be like, and you was right there. But then you started adding all that other stuff and it will affect your thought process because when you're taking the exam, you have those questions, you in this setting, the anxiety start coming just a little bit or whatever. And so when your brain starts wondering, you keep putting stuff in, by the time you get to the second half of the exam, you have actually burned your brain out at that point, and now you got to work super harder. So don't add anything, don't take away anything. The individual is just on a micro level. The community sometimes can be meso or sometimes it could be macro. Typically, when it's anything 10 and under, it's going to be meso. And you're going to see it spelled MEZZO or MESO. When it's past the 20, it goes to macro. And that's when you're dealing with like big stuff like um somebody got shot in a white cop shot a black person and now the community is on the outrage, or something happened at the White House and now the community is in the outrage. And so that's when you have everything behind the scenes working. The social worker steps in, but the social worker don't do the job. She doing just like she or he or she is doing just like they would do with a couple, a family, an individual. Instead, with community, the social worker is going to connect with the leader of the community. So just so I'm going to use because I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. When Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, that became a big thing. So everybody was like, how did all those people get together and start riding it fast? Because you had the NAACP, you had all of these back factors. So just say a social worker came in, where she would have linked or he would have linked with like Jesse Jackson or someone like that, because you're going to link with a prominent person in the community so that people can trust you. This is one I always use. And I use what I know. In black churches, when it's politic times, when it's voting time, it's always white politicians come to black churches. And people are like, how does white man get in here? I'm saying this jokingly. Nobody don't try to come sue me. And it's because they have a connection with the pastor or the deacon. Lindsay, you want to say something?
I was just gonna say because you may or may not know. Some know in here, but I might be a white female, but you can't see. I'm also born with a disability, so I'm in a wheelchair. So yep.
Really?
So I agree with everything you're saying.
You already know then, yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing. And so you have to connect with the right person in order to get things done. And so people trust you more when you're tied to a leadership role or somebody that's a leader in the community. So on the exam, when you're reading the questions, you're trying to say, is this your brain should be going like in 2 seconds. This is an ethic question. This is a research question, or this is just a question in general. Um, it's talking about family. It's talking about a couple. It's talking about an individual. It's talking about the community. Don't get scared when it starts talking about the community. And then you're going to say, what type of social worker? So it's going to be a school social worker. If it's a school social worker, that school social worker works in the school. Probably the teacher made a referral to the school social worker. The school social worker is often going to make a referral to a therapist, or the school social worker is going to put an intervention in place. Questions, comments, or concerns about that? If it's a hospital social worker is working as soon as the person comes through the door, because the hospital social worker does not know if their client is going to be there 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 second. Y'all do know people walk in and be like, oh, there's too many people in here, and check in, and then the social worker come out, Miss Bogart, and everybody in the lobby like, that lady with the braids, oh, she left 15 minutes ago, because they been sat in the lobby and had a whole conversation, so they know about everybody. But the hospital social worker has to work extremely fast. So just like all social workers, you're terminating in the beginning, but a hospital social worker is truly terminating in the beginning. I know that y'all probably like, well, is or is it not? But it really is. Also, with a hospital social worker, typically they're working on a interdisciplinary team. Mia, what's the interdisciplinary team? She like, did really? Uh-huh. Yep, you never know. You never know.
I really don't know where to begin.
Angela, you want to help her?
Yeah. So an interdisciplinary team is a team of most of your colleagues. It includes the doctor, the social worker, neuro specialist, or anybody within the hospital or clinical setting that you all are working together to collaborate for treatment or services for that person.
Most definitely. Teamwork make the dream work. Lindsay, what's intradisciplinary?
You got me.
Mastermind,
I,
you want to help her?
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever heard of
So
intra-disciplinary.
intradisciplinary team is a team. It would be like a team of social workers, a team of the same discipline.
Okay.
The same.
Okay.
So the reason I did that to you all, because we got to know how to take this exam. You will see the word intra. You won't always see it with intradisciplinary or inter, but you need to know inter and intra, just like you need to know homo and hetero. And there's going to be other words, because those words are often attached to something. If you know homo is the same, then you know hetero is different. So when you see it, it's processing quickly in your brain. Thank you all for that. Then you have your therapist. Your therapist is typically working in a single space, or sometimes in an agency. Your case manager is the person who often the therapist or the hospital social worker or other social workers refer people to them. They're often screening people before they come to an agency, or they're making referrals out to agencies before that client leaves that particular agency. And then you have your community social worker. Your community social worker out there making big money, y'all. Them the ones that's out there doing policies and procedures. And even though I had a nonprofit, I think sometimes I want to do it, sometimes I don't. It's a headache. I'm just gonna say that. It ain't for me. It's the money is there, but it ain't for me. I told y'all I'm country. I don't use correct terms. I don't have to unless I'm in a real setting. But these are words that you must know. Questions, comments, or concerns behind the type of social worker. Okay. Now, the next thing you must know is, what's the problem? And the problem is stated in the vignette. It's going to say the 13, the 15-year-old has been acting out since the new baby came home, and now the 15-year-old got caught smoking pot at school in the bathroom. Or the lady is at the police station reporting her husband who blacked her eye, but she says she don't want to file a report until her children are dismissed from school. Now, I gave that example for a reason, because on the exam, and this is something we miss in real life, a person has the right to self-determination. Let's see. Mia, what's self-determination?
That I think I can describe pretty much what they really want to do in treatment and what they're looking for, mostly like their decision, even if we feel they could work on something else, but it's what they want to do, what they
It's what
really
they
want to
want to
go
do.
for.
There you go. There
Hmm.
you go. So, Lindsay, when do they lose their right to self-determination?
When they want to harm themselves or others or anybody else is in danger.
Mm-hmm. Angela, when is another reason, or what's another reason they lose their right to self-determination?
Um, she already said dangers to self or others, failure to thrive, or vulnerable populations of a child or elder.
Y'all get it. Okay, thank you. See there? Y'all really know this stuff. So when you're looking at that problem, you're trying to identify all these things. But going back to what I was going to say, so when that lady said that I don't want to file a report on my husband right now because my kids at school, she lost her right to self-determination because on the exam and in real life, if kids are mentioned in a DV or IPV, which is intimate partner violence situation, then that means that child is at risk of being placed at harm, whether they see it or hear it. That's how we should be treating it in real life, but we don't treat it like that in real life. In real life, we be like, well, them parents fighting in front of the kids used to it. But that's not how it's supposed to go. Questions, comments, or concerns behind that example I just gave?
All the questions are flashing through my head, the ones that I know now I got
Are
wrong.
they? Yeah, I told y'all working with the best on this Sunday. So, Lindsay, did you struggle with it?
Yeah. Because
I saw
they're
you
like, I
say,
always narrowed it down to two, but then, there was a question about, a kid in school who says to a teacher that, father is doing, I don't know exactly what it said, but it was like, do you report or do you talk to the kid about their feelings first and get the truth? Like something like that. And that's where I get caught up. I get
oh,
really
so it's
caught
two
up.
ways to get there. I'm glad you said that. We're going to
Yeah.
get there. So don't get just hooked on what I'm saying now because I'm going to show you the other way to look at that as well. But thanks for sharing that. So we identify the problem, then we go into the vignette and we talk about safety, where it says the vignette is reflecting on safety. Child abuse, we're going to report on suspicion. Even if so, here's the thing: you see a question and it says a child come to school falling asleep and dirty, and your brain gonna go first to, "Ooh, this child being abused." Don't do that. Read the entire question first before you start making assumptions. So the next thing you're gonna keep reading, and then it's gonna say that the child and his mother were evicted from their home because they was behind on the rent and they're sleeping in their car. So, because your mind is stuck on abuse, and now you're gonna be like, well, now the mama neglecting the child. That ain't the problem. The problem is Maslow. Hierarchy of needs are not being met. She lost her job. But the test did put you just where it needed to put you to get the wrong answer. So when you go down to the choices, there's an answer that looks like abuse or neglect. And you skip right over the answer that's saying further assess to see what is going on because they're homeless. So, child abuse in essence, though, if we in real life we report under suspicion. So you see the question says the student, a supervisor was talking to the supervisor and they wanted to report, and the supervisor said, no, we don't report here at that age, at this agency. If you're working that case as the supervisee and you think there's some suspicion of abuse, you are supposed to report if the answer is telling you to report. Drug abuse. A person has the right to self-determination. However, it is safety if it's going to cause a severe reaction. So if a client is in your session and they start in there, they did a psychosocial assessment before they came to you, and you supposed to read, but now you a LCSW, you think you all this, so you don't read your assessments anymore. But you read that assessment, you know your client has a history. History means past of drug abuse. And now they sitting in your session and they got sweat rolling everywhere, they scratching. You like, what's going on with you, Miss Bogart? And they go, nothing, Mr. Such and such. And you go, so let's talk about this. Because when you have a client that used drugs or is currently using, you can confront them. You just got to confront them in a nice manner. And so you're going to say, Well, Miss Bogart, I know you have a history of drug use. Have you been using drugs lately? And guess what? Your clients really will be honest. So in the vignette, if they come out and say, I'm having withdrawal symptoms, this is safety. I don't care if you are a substance abuse counselor in real life. On the exam, Mill, like, here she go picking on me again. On the exam, you're not a substance abuse counselor. So, what the exam wants us to understand is you're going to refer that person out for medical. Because if you keep them in your session and they're going through withdrawal and something happens to them, guess who's going to be in trouble? You. So that's all the exam wants you to understand. I'm a commitment of need writer for the state of Tennessee, which means if somebody is suicidal or homicidal, I get calls in the middle of the night and I make the determination if they get to go home or if they have to go to inpatient treatment. Well, when I was doing my exam, I used to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna commit this person." And Dr. Pam said, "So, you working on that test question, right?" I'm like, "No." She was like, "So take yourself out of the equation, then." Who is texting me? Sorry, y'all. Okay. And so take yourself out of the equation. So if they're in your session, they're having an adverse reaction, refer them out. You may have to refer them to a substance abuse treatment center. You may have to refer them to a mental health facility. You may have to refer them to a medical doctor, but you refer them out. True story, I do bend my true stories a little bit because these videos often post and I don't want my clients to come back and go, "Was you talking about me?" So I take away an ad. But I had a client in session one time, and I know this person is a diabetic. I know they're taking some GLP-1s, and then they're having a lot of issues. And the client kept saying, "I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty." And so I was like, "Have you had your," and she kept sweating and it kept saying, "Miss Bogart, excuse me." This person has never done that before. And all my stuff is telehealth. So when they came back to the screen the third time, I said, "Have you had your medication?" "I haven't taken my meds in 2 days." "Oh, you know what? We are about to terminate this call. I need you to go to the doctor. And when you go to the doctor, I need you to text me. I don't care if it's 1 o'clock a.m., text me or email me and let me know. My text messages are confidential too. And let me know that you are safe. They text me that night. So now it's all for me and it's on them because if something happens to your client, it comes back on you. So I give those examples to let you all know it is real. Elder abuse. This is why I asked Mill about the right to self-determination. You have to be able to understand in the vignette if that
You're completely right to take this seriously.
well, okay. See, all these new, this is why I don't like devices. I have not pressed anything. This thing is all in my conversation. But with elderlies, often they're 65 and older in real life and on the exam. If they are their cognition is there, they don't have any dementia or anything like that mentioned in the exam, they have the right to self-determination. But there's going to be a caveat. So the first thing is an elderly comes and says, "My daughter is over my check, and every month she takes my Social Security check and she only leaves me with $50 and I barely have any groceries." And you say, "Well, I want to report. Can I report your daughter?" And she goes, "No, you can't report her daughter because it's her right to self-determination." Now, some things you can do if it presents on the exam, but in real life, you can say, "Let me refer you to the area agent on disability," which everybody should have one in their state or their city. Or let me find a food pantry that can donate you some food. Now, here's the twist. If that person is deemed with dementia and you find that you go to their house and do a home visit and the house is filthy and no food in the refrigerator, then you can report because your client cannot make that right to determine if somebody is taking advantage of them. A lot of times on the exam, it's going to be financial abuse. Believe it or not, in the real world, it's often financial abuse as well. The other thing you should know is this is the twist. The person is mentally there. They're saying that their daughter do take care of them, and although she's only giving them $50 for groceries, but the client looks real frail. Guess what? There's some incongruency there. Mastermind, what is incongruent?
Incongruent means there's inconsistency. Something is not adding up.
So what the client is telling you does not match what you see. And so when there's incongruence, that word is a word that should be in our vocabulary. When it shows up on the exam, that's a cue, like hint, hint, you need to be paying attention. So that means that example that I just gave, she frail, she's saying, don't report my daughter. That's a situation that you might want to report under suspicion. Questions, comments, or concerns about that example? Angela, you still with me or you went to the moon?
I'm here until 3 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, Angela is on the moon if you see her background. So, harm to self or others. Let me tell you where we get tricked up on this, because it'll say a person was in the session and they said, I'm gonna go bust the windows out his car. Sound like Jasmine Sullivan. Did they say he was gonna do something to somebody? Angela? She can't get it.
Oh, I couldn't get off mute.
Uh-huh.
This is a hard question because I'm currently struggling with this situation now. Bust the windows out the car. No, like I may not agree as a clinician, but they're not harming themselves physically or harming anyone else physically.
There you go. Don't add nothing else.
Oh, I'm about
Don't
to say
add
that's
nothing
it.
else, Angela. Don't add nothing else. We're going to stop you right there. That's it. And that's where we get thrown off. It says, oh, when I leave here from this session, I just found out my wife cheating on me. I'm going to go bust the windows out of her car. In real life and on the exam, if it gives you the opportunity, you're going to assess, which means you're going to ask additional questions. Man, so after you bust the windows out the car, what else you going to do? Miss Moga, I'm just going to bust the windows out the car. That's not meaning that person is getting ready to harm the wife. Now, if he says, after I bust the windows out the car, then I'm going to go in the house and I'm going to stab her, that changes the whole trajectory of everything. And that's when you have to report. And remember, in real life, and it's probably going to start showing up on the exam, we report to 911, 988, or we refer them out to a crisis facility. So if that's it, they just gonna kick over the garbage can. That's something. Something and someone is a person. Terrasoft. Do we all know what the word Terrasoft is? Angela, you said yes. Lindsay, you know what Terrasoft is? Yes, didn't look promising. No, okay. Mia, you know what Terrasoft is? Mastermind, what's Terrasoft?
Tariff is I don't know if the tariff is a law um, where you have to inform a client, not a client, you have to inform a person if they're in danger, if they're in harm or danger.
Thank you. Tarasoff came out of California, and what ended up happening was a therapist was meeting with a client, and the client identified that they was going to murder somebody, and the therapist did not act on it, and that person lost their life. So Tarasoff means when we know something, when our client tells us they're going to harm themselves, most definitely someone else, we have to report it. And occasionally there is time where if we know if they say it's going to be their wife and we have their wife telephone number, after you call the police or crisis, you can call the wife and say, hey, your husband is on his way to murder you. Now, if your client comes in your office or on a telehealth session and they got blood all over their shirt and they told you that they just murdered their wife, can you call the police?
No.
No. You just got to deal with it. You got to take that to your grave because they already did the work. And our clients, I hope they don't put this on this one on YouTube, because I want you all to know, but I don't be wanting our clients to know this, because people start coming to us murdering people so we can hold their information seriously. But in that case, the job is already done, and we are subjected to hold that information, until we are court ordered. Like if something comes up and then we're court ordered, not subpoenaed by an attorney, but a judge or the court. And even then, when the court or the judge send their paperwork to us, this is when you should have liability insurance and an attorney, which I have. Even if you work for an agency, you're going to say, I want to insert privilege, because our job is to protect our clients. And if the judge or the court says, nope, I want your notes, I hope your psychotherapy notes isn't in there, because that psychotherapy going to say, Mr. John came in my office on 6/28/26, and he had blood all over his shirt, and he said he had just murdered his wife, and he had dumped her in the river. And guess who you just incriminated? Your client. So that's why your psychotherapy notes. That's why you need to know how to use SOAP. SOAP, subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. Simple. Don't go writing all that stuff in your notes. And if I was you, I wouldn't even use psychotherapy notes. But if that's what you need, you need. So anything you need to know about safety. Because y'all probably like, she talking a lot. Because we're going to get to some questions and I'm going to test you. So I'm asking you now. It'll make sense later. So I'm going to breeze through this. Locations: hospitals, schools, office, private practice, home, outpatient, family agency, nonprofit, community mental health facility. If you don't know what any of those are, let me know. Okay. So everybody know what they are. When we are reading questions, if it's medical, I just gave you an example of medical or mental health. If your client's sitting there talking about the UFOs flying around your head, stop the session and go ahead and call 988 or 911 or a crisis center. Because although I am able to work with mental health people on the exam and in my session, that's not what I'm there to do. So you refer them out. If your client is in the session and saying that their vaginal is itching and burning real bad, it's a sensitive topic, but stop the session. Ma'am, I need you to go see your PCP, and then you come back here once you get that taken care of. What do you do when you see your first question? If you have issues with processing, then you need to try to put them in order as quickly as you can. You have about 3 minutes to read a question twice and come up with the right answer. We talked about clients' right to self-determination. They lose it if they're not mentally stable. They lose it if they're the vulnerable population. And they lose it if they're feeling suicidal or homicidal. Kids also does not have a right to self-determination. Do anyone have a problem with countertransference versus transference? Okay, so y'all know it, right? All right. Lindsay, what's countertransference?
When something comes up for us in session that the client is maybe talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
reminds
if
us of
something
our
come up and it's
personal life.
bothering you, you just gonna say, client, I can't work with you anymore, Lindsay.
No, you have to take it to supervision.
There you go. Mia, what's transference?
Isn't that the opposite of it?
But give me a little bit more. It is, but I'm a little bit more. I'm not gonna let you off that easy.
Those get me confused because one will be like your own personal thing affecting the client, but then the other one will be the client affecting us.
So the
So
first one is countertransference that you said.
yeah.
So the second one is transference. So transference is your client comes in, Mia, and she was like, Mia act too much like my auntie, and I really don't like my auntie. And then she gonna tell you, Miss Mia lady, you act too much like my auntie. This ain't working. I don't want you to work with me anymore. And you're going to acknowledge that, and you are going to, if you in private practice, you're gonna ask her, do you want the help? You want her to do she want you to help her find somebody else? You're gonna tell her to flip the back of her insurance card and call whomever. Like what Lindsay was saying with countertransference, all of us are going to have a client that we do not like. I don't care how much you want to pretend you like all your clients. That's a lie. I'm just letting you know. I had a few. I'm like, oh, can she fire? Can I just fire me on a piece of paper and accidentally drop it on the floor or something? And I mean, it's real. We're humans, but we still have to be
Mhm.
mindful. And we cannot show our clients that, unfortunately. So, what you do is go to supervision, you work through that, and you come back and you give your client 110%, no matter what. Uh, and trust me, they can feel when we don't like them. And sometimes that even make them say, I'm gonna make her stay with me even longer. So it's contingent on your time with them. You are going to get a copy of this. And what I want you to do is just remind yourself when you get a minute, anytime you're getting ready to do practice tests, you will say, Mastermind, Mia, Lindsay, Angela, this is a reading test, girl. This is not asking me to insert what I do daily at work. I will not overthink the questions, but read the question at least twice. And I will always eliminate 2 answers and keep 2 answers, as if you have 4 choices. Of course, if you have 3 choices, you eliminate 2, you're gonna be left with 1. And when I absolutely feel that I know the answer, you're the expert. So you are the dictator of how you study and how you take this exam. Now, does everyone know about the social worker helping process? This thing is amazing. Like, it helps us answer the questions. The A is for assessment. Assessment means we just ask questions. The P is for planning. We plan with our client, not for our client. So it says the first thing is often an E. You'll see on some and it say engagement. That's where we build their rapport. Our clients come in, the case manager or whomever screened them, they're appropriate for us. So you did a consultation with them, they're appropriate for you. You get them to do the biopsychosocial assessment before they come to the first session. You read it, they come in, you know what the presenting problem is, and that's what the assessment is. So you're coming here because you're having problems with your partner. Yes, ma'am, I'm having problems with my partner. So tell me a little bit more. How long has this been going on? When did it start? Blah, blah, blah. And then you all are going to go into planning and going to say, okay, you really want to be with your partner. You want things to work out. So you stress out at work, and you notice that when you start getting stressed out at work, that's when you and your partner's relationship start going downhill. So what are some things we can do? How can we plan to get this better? So now that you plan, you come up with an intervention. Okay. We found out you've been staying at work every night, an hour and a half later. So this man thinks you out cheating on him. That's the problem. So the intervention we're going to put in place is you're like, but I really need the extra hour and a half at work. Okay, you're going to go home. The intervention is you're going to explain to your partner what's going on, why you having to stay late at work. But instead of staying late every day or 5 days for an hour and a half, let's try just staying for the first week 4 days for an hour and a half. Are y'all still with me? I think I lost Angela. I don't see her on my screen anymore. And then I think she said she had to leave. And now we have the intervention. The intervention is what we put into place to change the problem. The problem is this woman, her and her partner, they're having some issues, and it tends to happen because she was stressed out at work. Now she come back to you the next week. That whole week before, she only stayed at work 4 days, an hour and a half. She comes back to the next session. You evaluate that. She was like, Miss Bogart, that hour and a half that I didn't stay at work, my partner was so happy. We went out and had dinner. So does that say that the intervention is working? Yes or no? Yeah. And now we're going to come back, and I said, well, you know what, Miss Dot, it's time for us to end the session because you only have 5 EAP sessions and it's over. Do everybody know what EAP is? Or the insurance company is only paying for 5 sessions. So when you work in an agency, a lot of times you don't see the behind the scenes stuff. You're like, well, I only can see this person 10 times. It's because the insurance company has only approved for the people, and the company is not. Sometimes they'll tell you, but sometimes they don't. But in real life, y'all, we have an allotted amount of time that we can work with a person unless they're cash paying. And really, even if they're paying cash, we don't want to keep on holding on to them forever because now we're enabling them and we're not allowing them to go out there and learn it on their own. Questions, comments, or concerns about the social worker helping process? None? Okay. So, Mill, I want you to read where it says number 1.
Safety first. A, this is applied to both the client and you as the social worker.
So when it comes to safety first, when I talked about that A earlier, just a few minutes ago, a few seconds ago, the assessment, while we're assessing them, we're looking for safety. We're looking for feelings. If our client, while we're talking to them and they shaking or biting their nails or twirling their hair or constant scratching and twitching, we're not gonna keep saying, girl, let's keep talking about what blah blah blah. You're gonna say no. Miss Bogart, why are you shaking your leg like that? Why are you crying? Is something bothering you? I see you keep scratching here. So that's what safety and assessment, all of that is happening at the same time. When you're assessing, you're looking for safety and you're acknowledging feelings. Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. Lindsay, read number 3.
You will always assess. Is asking questions something that you already do? A,
That's what it
being,
do. Yep. Mm-hmm.
do you want me to go? With the
Keep going.
A, be engaged, establish rapport. B, be honest. C, do not assume. Example, a child is hungry and dirty with bruises. You are going to assess, ask questions, and not assume that the mother could be ill, but not quickly assume that the child abuse is occurring.
Mhm.
D, this is what you get paid to do. E, gaining important information. F, secure information. Be nosy. You cannot assess if your client is dealing with it. Example, if a client is crying, you will not ask questions. However, you will address why he or she is crying.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you're doing during that assessment period. You're not assuming, you ask questions. You be honest. There is a test question that's asking you, like your client may say, were you paying attention to me? We zone out in sessions. We have things going on. Your client may see you zone out. I had a client the other day. She said, why you keep looking over to the side? And I was like, I thought something sounded like somebody was coming in my house. And she, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. It seems like somebody is opening the front door of my home. Can I stop for a second and come back?" Be honest. It wasn't going to do me any justice to say, "Oh, I'm not looking over to the side," and she see that I'm constantly looking to the side. So be honest with them. Also, being honest is letting them know if you're competent in the area. If you know you're not EMDR trained and they want EMDR, let them know I'm not EMDR trained. Okay. Mastermind number 4.
Number 4, when planning, A, do with the client, not for the client.
Plan with them, not for them. We are social workers. We are also known as therapists and counselors. If we was LPCs, they don't plan with their client. They're playing for them. And that's one of the things that our board made us to be different from others. It's nothing bad, but I just thought it was something you should know. Number 5, mastermind.
Number 5, intervention. Work to put something in place to help your client with his stated problem.
So, Mia, what was the intervention that I put in place or the client and I put in place in that example that I gave?
Reducing the days that the client stays late at work and then just be home and try to spend time with the family. Sounds like a simple intervention, but
Yeah,
something that is was a problem.
yes. That's what, and you start. Remember, if you only have 5 sessions with this person, you don't want to put all these big, unrealistic interventions. You really want to put something in place that they can work. And 6, mastermind.
Number 6, evaluation. Review with the client to see if the intervention is working.
So, Lindsay, how did we find out if the intervention was working?
Depending on how they present in session too, because behaviorally we can see that.
She
But
came
also,
back.
But
She was happy.
yep. But with assessments too.
And then we terminate. And we let
Yep.
them know in termination, hey, if you need to come back, come back. But go out there and try it on your own. Also, remember, termination, the way it looks on the exam is if your client at the end say that it's the last session and they say they suicidal, you got to refer them out. You got to keep that case open. And once they're, done over at the crisis center and they come back to you, you make sure they okay. And then you close their case out. And trust me, clients will pull
Mhm.
their wild card, but you cannot be like, oh, they're just doing this because they don't want to end. You have to follow through. Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. So I am about to go to the next slide. And remember, everything that I showed you here, you will receive a copy of. Let me pull up the next thing. So anybody want to share anything they've learned so far? I know, Lindsay, you shared something, but if you have anything else, you can. Uh,
There were a
now,
lot
this
of
is
things. Uh,
I'm sorry. Someone was saying something. I missed it. I
yeah,
cannot
uh,
see you all right now.
about learning. There were a few things, but something that really got my mind is like not trying to answer like I'm at work doing it because I think I do that a lot, assuming that should be this way because this is how I normally do it instead of focusing on the assessment and the planning. So that's something for me to keep in mind.
Yes.
And
It
there
will
were other
mess
stuff,
you
but
up. Yes, please. And that's what I always did. And Dr. Pam would be like, okay, so as soon as you stop doing it, you will actually get better. And I was like, she don't know what she's talking about. And I mean, I knew she knew what she was talking about, but I just didn't want her to be right. So, but yeah, that's the thing. It's very important. Are you all able to see the screen?
Tiny, but oh, there we go.
Okay, I'm trying to make it. Is it bigger?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, again, y'all, I am not savvy. I do not see y'all anymore, but the good thing you see me. So it's gonna be Lindsay, Mill, and Mastermind. Is there anybody else on this call?
Looks like there's somebody, Gloria G.
Gloria, are you on? Okay.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we're gonna actually it's gonna be Gloria, Lindsay, Mill, and Mastermind. Remember that order because that's the way you're gonna answer your question. So, Gloria, you have the first question.
Okay. Which of the following is one of the possible signs of sexual abuse? Hold on. Let me make it a little
So
bit
read
bigger.
all of your answer choices out loud.
Mm, okay, there we go. Dehydration, malnutrition, pressure injuries, urinary tract infection. So my question is, which of the following is one of the possible signs of sexual abuse? Dehydration, malnutrition, pressure injuries, urinary tract infection. Um, hmm, I don't think it's dehydration. Um, Pressure injuries. I'm not too sure. I can imagine what that is, but I'm not too sure. Um, I mean UTIs or malnutrition. So I'm between malnutrition and UTIs. Is it UTIs?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm asking you.
I want you to tell me.
I just feel like UTI can be from anything, so I feel like I'm assuming. Um, I don't know. Sexual abuse will be malnutrition. Wow, this one's hard.
No, it's
Possible
not.
signs of sexual
Take that
abuse.
out your vocabulary.
Pressure injuries. Um, So it's not A and it's not C. So it has to be B or D. Um, okay, fine. I'm going to go with D.
And D is correct.
D.
Yep. So I know
Thank you.
these are not your typical questions. These are small
Nope.
questions because I just want to understand. But there's a lot of questions on the test that you don't know either. So you have to
Yep.
be able to process. And you were doing it, you
Exactly.
like, I sort of kind of think I can say what pressure injuries are. You narrowed it down to
Mm-hmm.
two and you got it correct, even though it was a guess. And this is what you have to do on the test sometimes when it's absolute. You just like, I don't know what these words are. I've never seen
Mm-hmm.
this. But this is something that we should be mindful. What is going on with my screen? You all still can see my screen, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay,
We
it's
can
gonna
see you.
stop sharing for just 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna pull it right back up. So as I was saying, but in this case, these are things that we do have to be mindful of when we're dealing with our clients. We have little girls that come in us that's been abused all the time. So you have to be able to pull these out. But a urinary tract infection is something that shows up in elderly people too, and it distorts their memory. So a urinary tract infection makes a person feel like they're like crazy or looks like dementia sometimes, but I'm not going to get into that. I just want to kind of assess to see how you all read questions. Who's number two?
I think I go second. No, no. Okay. What is one way to prevent burnout? Avoid supervisors, give criticism, ask for help, complete tasks alone. I mean, that's pretty simple. You don't want to avoid the supervisor, so I'll scratch that one off.
Okay.
And I don't think it's give criticism either. Complete tasks alone or ask for help. I would definitely say ask for help.
Yes, ask for help. There are several different types of burnout, so become
Hmm.
familiar with it. Some of us can be in a job and love our job, but we're just tired of seeing clients come in throwing feces everywhere. We're exhausted with seeing our clients, young girls coming in being molested all the time. So that's vicarious burnout. So keep that in mind. Number three. Who's number three?
Probably is me because I don't remember the order. I'm sorry.
You go for it.
You suspect abuse is happening, but you are not sure. When must you tell your supervisor? Your next break, end of shift, within 24 hours, immediately. It's not your next break. It's not within 24 hours. It's either end of shift or immediately. And I'd say immediately.
That is correct. And you're gonna be like, but there's test questions that says
Yeah.
a supervisor. Don't. That's why you have to be able to read and understand the question. What was you gonna add, Lindsay?
What was that?
Were you about to add something?
I was overthinking that first question. That's where I'm starting to realize not to overthink.
Mm-hmm.
Because like in the test when it said possible, because it's not the only thing that could happen. That's where
Mm-hmm.
I get tripped up.
Yep. So at
Because
least you're catching it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's mastermind. Number four.
All right, number 4. Which of the following best describes person-centered care? A, work quickly. B, know what the person likes. C, be on time. Or 3, involve supervisors. So I'm gonna get rid of D, and I'm gonna get rid of A, and I'm gonna get rid of C. So I'm gonna go with know what the person likes.
Yes, yes. Remember, you are person-centered care. You got to know what's going on with them, what they like, and that's how you are able to meet them and provide the best care that they need. So, who was number one again?
With me, Gloria.
Gloria. Okay.
Which type of abuse is happening when a caregiver shows someone in their care pornography without consent?
Oh, here's a good
Neglect,
question.
Hmm.
mental, financial, sexual. So, what type of abuse is happening when a caregiver shows someone in their care pornography without consent? Um, I am going to. It's not financial, so I'm going to cross out C. And it's not uh neglect, so it has to be B or D. And I'm going to go with B, mental.
And what was your second choice?
Wait, hold on. Pornography
You said
without
B or
consent.
D, right?
Yes.
It is D. I know you went with B, but
Yeah,
tell
I
me.
was gonna say, only because I'm thinking like an emotional also abuse, like going against their will of showing them something. In this case, it's pornography, so it would be more sexualized. So yeah, I should have went with D.
Would anyone else have chose something else other than D? Be honest.
I was going to choose mental just because it wasn't a physical act, but of course it
Mm-hmm.
says pornography, so that is sex.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So that's kind of where I was also leaning towards mental, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
So that was just some teasers right there. Did that help you all a little bit?
yes.
Yes.
So you all will get that, and there's some additional questions on there that you can take. You can answer at your own pace. All righty, we are about to get into some heavy stuff. Let's see. Questions, comments, or concerns as I pull this up.
Okay. Doc, I have to
Um,
go. Good night.
okay, good night.
All right.
Are you all able to see the screen?
Yes.
It says past perfection. You will have access to this. I'm going to skip through some stuff, but it's worth me skipping through. I just ask that you take the time to go back over and read it at your leisure. So this is the like method, and the like method is something that will really get you a long way as well. And Gloria, I'm just going to have you to read the like method.
Sure. Liked method. L, last sentence first. I, identify the type of question. K, key concepts. E, eliminate two answers. D, distractor.
Lindsay, I want you to read the like method.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
Liked method. L, last sentence first. I, identify the type of question. K, key concepts. E, eliminate two answers. And D, distractor.
Mill, so what are you going to do first when you read a question?
Focus on the last sentence first.
There you go. So it's the reason I'm telling you all this. I normally wouldn't, and I let
So
it.
you're gonna start from the end.
You're gonna start from the end.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly what you're gonna do. So, Mill, do what the direction said do.
Okay. Read. Okay. A doctor notifies a hospital social worker that
Mill,
it. Oh, I thought you
Mill,
said you. I'm not
Mill.
paying
Did
attention.
I just say
Oh,
the direction
the
said do?
last. Listen, I
Still
need to.
did it. It never
Yes,
fails.
I mean the brain is ready to start from the beginning.
That's what I keep telling you all.
That's a
You got
tricky
to do
exercise right
something
here.
different. Yes. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most appropriate action for the social work to take?
Y'all, Mill will forever read the last sentence first from here going forward. Okay. Thank you, Mia. I'm glad you all are able to laugh about this. So, Lindsay, read what's in the yellow at the top.
Identify the type of question.
Mm-hmm. And so in this, what it's talking about, I'm not saying this question is a recall or a reasoning question, but what I need you all to understand is the difference. So, Lindsay, go ahead and give us the definition for recall and reasoning.
Recall is something that you just know, or you don't. It's a memorization type of question.
Lindsay, I'm going to get you to read it the way you see it on the screen.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just messing with you.
Recall requires you to know the definition or the concept.
What does
Read
it require, Lindsay?
to know the definition or the concept.
So you know it. You just know it, okay? You can
And
go to
then
read.
reasoning. A scenario is presented and you must match the key concepts with the correct answer.
Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Questions, comments, or concerns? All righty. Gloria, I want you to read the type of questions.
Okay, type of questions. Disorders and medications. Safety, suicide assessment, homicidal threats, CPS, APS, domestic violence, practice, the social worker role, at what stage of the generalist practice the social worker is in, ethics, confidentiality, theory, human behavior, group, communities, supervision, administration, research.
Anyone have any questions about this particular slide? So when you're reading a question and you start seeing things that's talking about disorders and medication, it's probably clinical. If you're reading a question and this is not here, but if you're reading a question and it starts saying it's Asian, African American, Hispanic, it's probably a cultural question. If you're reading a question and it says the person made a threat to harm his wife after the session, or the person said they no longer want to live, and you further assess it, and the person has a plan and an intent, it's suicide. If you're reading a question and a child tells you that they informed their parents that they were gay and their mom took an iron and put it on their back, that's child protective services. CPS was used on the exam. In real life, it's either child protective services or children and family services. Domestic violence, the interchangeable word is IPV. A woman is typically being abused on the exam. She has the right to self-determination unless it mentions that there's a child in that vignette. You have to know about the practice, which is the settings, the social work role, all that stuff I went over earlier. Is it a hospital? Is it a school? Is it a clinical social worker? Is it a case manager? Is it a hospital social worker? And what stage of the general practice the question the social worker is in. You must know ethics, not meaning you're guessing or you're going by what somebody told you. It should be what you have read and what you understand. You must understand confidentiality, theory, human behavior, group, community practice, supervision, administration, and research. Research is often recall. Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, so we have talked about the L, we have talked about the I. Now we're on the K. So, Mill, let's do the K. Key comes.
Key concepts. Okay. The blue highlighted ones.
The white stuff.
The white ones or the blue ones?
The white
The
words.
white. Okay. So key concept will be the doctors notify a hospital social work
Mill,
that.
Mill,
Okay.
Mill, Mill. Where did you see THE?
TH.
Did y'all hear her?
I'm reading the first
No, you
sentence.
didn't. You said the
The
doctor.
doctor. Hey, doctor. Okay.
Uh-huh. You see, and I pay attention.
It's a big difference.
Keep going. Mia, like, I ain't coming back after this.
No, 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 no. I am
No,
loving
we
it
came back
because
together. We were in the first session together.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I remember. I love it because this is the small details, and I think that's
Hmm.
the end of it when they said distractions. That doesn't help me on focusing, like reading
Hmm.
correctly the words. Okay, a doctor notifies a hospital social worker that a child with chronic illness has
Meal,
only the one,
meal. What color words did I ask you to read?
the white.
White. Yes.
Okay,
I,
then the doctor states that if the child does not come for the appointments, it will be considered medical neglect by the parents. The social worker learns that mother has a physical disability and what is the most appropriate actions for the social worker to take, which is the last sentence. To
the last sentence first. But you also, after the word learns, you put THAT, and there is no THAT after learns or before the. So the
the
reason
social
I'm
worker
pointing this
learns.
out to you all is because this is what we do on the exam. We just be reading. And
Yeah.
it's one, now these are simple words, but when we take those bigger words and we start messing them up, guess what you're doing to your brain? You're setting yourself up to answer the question incorrectly. And this is why I make it joking, but you are going to pay attention a little bit more now when you're reading to yourself. Although you have about 3 minutes to do everything, still slow down. And even if you mess up the first time, that's why you go back the second time and read it twice so you can pick up whatever you missed the first time. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we done the L, we done the I, we done the K. Lindsay, let's do the E.
Eliminate two answers.
So on this, Lindsay, you're just going to go down to the answer choices.
A. Insist that the child go to at least 4 medical visits per year. And C. Emphasize with the mother about the limitation of her physical disability. Sorry.
So I know you are probably like, but she
It
didn't
made
give
me
us the
giggle.
option. You because it seems like it's talking about you, huh,
Yeah.
Lindsay? So what we're going to do, I know you are probably like, she didn't give me an opportunity to read the whole question. So this is the opportunity I am going to give you to read the whole question. So we have a moment of silence. You all can read to yourself. Everybody done?
Yes.
Okay. So, based off of that, let's go to the next part. Gloria, give me the distractors. That's everything in blue.
I think me and Mel are the only ones here.
Oh,
I think.
Yes,
did-
yes, yes. Yes, I
oh,
don't see
okay.
Gloria.
I think
Oh, you left. Okay.
it's and then there were
All
two.
right. Yeah, now it's blue. All right. Come on. Lindsay, give me the distractor in blue.
Determine if the child can receive health care services near the home.
Lindsay. Uh-uh. In the vignette, in the question, read the blue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Child with a chronic illness has not kept any appointments in the past year and must be evaluated 4 times a year. Lives over an hour away from the medical center. The mother asks if the children can be treated at a local medical center instead.
So we have gone through the like, and I know it might be thrown off now because you really haven't had time to look at it, but always start with your last sentence first. And then when you read the question the first time, you're reading it just to kind of capture the information. Then you're going to go back the second time and you're going to pull out what's really important. And welcome back, Gloria. And you're going to pull out what's really important. Now that we've gone through this, I think Lindsay had read the answer choices that are in red. So thank you for doing that, Lindsay. Now it's actually giving you the answer, but this is how I want you to break down your test questions when you're doing them, whether it's practice tests or the real test. So your answer choices that's left is B like boy and D like dog. And now what you're going to do is say between B and D, which one fits into this vignette like the missing piece of a puzzle. And it's B. You're going to explore an alternative treatment schedule with the doctor. Meal, why is it B?
Because the in question is that the kid is not attending to treatment at all. Like they're trying to help the children's skin be in treatment because they're not present in children in the services. Like
Say that
the
again,
problem,
Mia.
yeah, like the problem is, according to all the information, the problem is transportation, but actually they're not receiving the treatment. So they're trying to explore a way that they can actually be in treatment and find alternatives.
The alternative. Okay. Lindsay, tell me why you think B is the correct answer.
I'm stuck. That's why I'm wondering why D is the distractor, but B is the correct answer because you don't necessarily want to take the kid away from the doctor, but it doesn't say whether, right? I'm stuck on this one
Okay.
because I'm
Well,
starting to overthink and I know I
yeah,
can't.
you are.
Yeah.
I can hear it. I
Yep.
can hear it. Gloria, why is B the correct answer?
I need a minute to read because I got disconnected.
Okay. So just keep up with us then.
Okay.
Let me tell you all, okay. The white word says I'm gonna read the whole question. And we
Okay.
start with last first. What is the most important action for the social worker to take? So now in your brain, you should be saying, okay, it could be more than one answer, but we're looking for the best, the most important appropriate action. Now we're going to go read the question. A doctor notifies a hospital social worker that a child with chronic illness has not kept any appointments in the past year and must be evaluated 4 times a year. The doctor states that if the child does not come for the appointments, it will be considered medical neglect by the parents. The social worker learns the mother has a physical disability and lives over an hour away with a physical disability from the medical center. The mother asks, the mother asks if the children can be treated at a local medical center instead. So in this, we like, oh, the doctor supersedes everything. The doctor saying it's medical neglect. But the social worker assessed the mother. And the mother said, no, this is not medical neglect. Lady, I got a physical disability and I live an hour away. So just imagine not putting too much more in here, not taking anything out. The lady just asking, the mother is asking for help.
Mhm.
And so that's what was learned in the assessment. We assessed. So now we want to put a plan in place. We're going to plan with the mother and the child, the family, and we're going to say, okay, ma'am, since you're saying that the issue is you live over an hour away with a disability, and you said, can the child be treated at a local medical center? Local means can the child be treated somewhere that's closer to the mother and the child? Yes, the social worker, yes, ma'am, I can help you with that. And I would let this doctor know that this is not considered as medical neglect. And so now that's when B is the answer. You explore an alternative treatment scale. I mean, I'm sorry, D. I've been saying B. I'm sorry. Sorry, sorry, sorry. D, D. Determine if the child can receive healthcare services. So if you was thinking D, you're right. I don't know how I
Oh,
did it.
oh, so D is the correct answer.
D is the correct answer. I'm sorry.
Guess we were exploring the B.
I'm
That's
sorry.
And I was
It
looking
was
at the D. I'm like, D seems to
it's
be
that's why I was
appropriate
like, why is
too.
D a distractor?
it's me. My premenopause kicking in. It's me. And D is the correct answer.
We
So
got it.
determining if the child can receive health care services near the home. So if you
Can
said D and I made you think wrong,
I
then you're right with D.
can I ask just a follow-up question as to
Uh-huh.
why B is the distractor? Is it because the mom literally asked if children can be treated at a local medical center?
No, it's because the doctor a lot of times we think the doctor's super. So this was one of those interdisciplinary
Okay.
questions because the social worker is working with the doctor. And a lot of times people forget that when we're working in an interdisciplinary role, we work with everybody and not one person supersedes the next person. And it was because the doctor said it was medical neglect. So when he said it was medical neglect, it was like, well, let's see if he has another schedule. Let's see if we can bring the child in another time versus just finding somewhere local for the family. Did that make sense how I answered that for you, Lindsay? Uh-oh.
No.
It did. So
Just because I think I'm getting confused with B and D, so D is the correct answer.
D is the correct
And the
answer.
reason why B is not is because what you just said.
Yes, but you don't know
Okay.
what I just said, so I need to make sure you know what I said. B is not the correct answer because the mother indicated that she wants her child to get care. She just needs it to be
Local.
closer to the house.
Got
Yes.
it. Got it. I got it now.
It makes sense now?
Yep. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions, comments, or concerns?
Mm, oh,
No.
Gloria, did you get it?
Yeah, I did after, yeah, I was like trying to figure out why B was the answer.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
We're good. We're
apologize.
good.
We're all
There go
good.
No,
that
fine.
honesty thing. I have to be honest.
No, I
Okay.
appreciate it. No, no, fine.
Uh-huh. So remember, when you're doing questions, you got to know who the client is. Who was the client in that vignette we just did?
the
Mia?
mother? The mother?
Uh-uh.
No, it's a child.
Child.
It was
Yeah.
a child.
Family?
It was actually the child.
Child
Okay.
because the
It
medical.
was not a family question. It's just the mom had to interject because the the issue was around the child. The child was going in for medical care, but because it was a child, the parent did have to interject. Make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what was the main issue, Lindsay?
That the mother could not bring the child to the medical appointments due to how far away it is and her physical disability.
Mm-hmm. Gloria, were there any risks of harm or danger for the client?
Yes, there were, because he needed this medical care. And if he doesn't get it, his health is going to get worse. So there were concerns.
You're right, but you overthought that.
I
Really?
did. Okay,
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
because
great.
the mama was never neglecting the
I know.
child.
I know.
You see how you overthought that? You still don't see it.
Now I see. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Because
mama
we
one, she didn't put that child in danger. She would have put the child in danger if she would have been like, look, I got a disability and this is an hour drive. Gas is $4 a gallon. No, I'm not bringing him here. I don't care how many evaluations he need a year. She
she
said,
wasn't
look,
saying
let me,
no.
yeah, she never said
Okay.
no. She said, I just need something that's going to be beneficial so that I can get him. She had him there at the doctor's office. She been bringing him to the doctor's office. It just has become too much now. She it didn't say she was missing his appointments or anything.
So what Gloria and I were saying were assumptions.
It was overthinking.
Okay.
Assumptions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Overthinking.
the question said that he has a chronic illness, but they never said that he was in danger, like it was causing any difficulties on his
Yeah.
illness.
Yeah, I guess my overthinking kicked in because I didn't think the mom was neglecting the child at all. She was just trying to find, a better access to what the child needs. That's
Mhm.
all. But I think I overthought of the situation where the mother's trying to do this in order to help the child, and if she can't get his help, it might look like that. But was
Mhm.
there any neglect specifically in that scenario?
Let me go
No.
back to it. No,
So
not at all.
I see how I overthought that.
You and I both, Gloria.
So let me show you where
Yes.
the word neglect came from.
Okay.
The doctor.
Because
Mm, okay.
The doctor states that if the child does not come for the appointments, it would be considered medical neglect by the parents. That's all distracting
the
information.
doctor
Mm,
didn't assess the situation. He was
No.
just right.
This is important information, but that's what throws people off because they're like, yeah, the doctor didn't assess. The social worker came back and assessed and found out what the issue was.
hmm I get it. I see. Yeah.
And I want to point this out too, Gloria. It does say he was missing appointments, but like Lindsay just said, the doctor never assessed. And that's what we cannot assume in real life. That's why I started this session off earlier today. You have to assess, you have to ask questions. Why aren't you coming to your appointment? Why did you miss this?
hmm
Why did you do this? Why did you do that? I used to work in HIV care and we had parents that missed appointments all the time. And then when you talk
hmm
to them, they're like, they live in another state. And the hospital I worked at was the closest hospital that treated kids with HIV. And so we will find out what was going on. So we'll get them bus tickets, we'll pay for them to stay in a hotel overnight, things of that nature when they needed the care. So it's just assessing, identifying what the problem is, what's restricting you. Makes more sense now?
Thank you.
Yes.
Nobody confused? A little bit?
A little bit, but that's not because of the question. It's because of me overthinking it.
Yeah, overthinking. So just slow down. That's the key. Slow
Okay.
down, read the question twice. Yep.
Okay.
Read the last sentence first. Pull out you can either pull out the distractors, which I don't encourage you. I would say pull out the most important information. And the most important information is going to match your correct answer. And the distractor information is going to match that second choice. So when we're answering first questions, it's suggested when it says, what should the social worker do first? If you are not the person that can think in the way you need to think, you're going to put the answers in order. And then you eliminate two. And so while I'm here, if the question says, what should the social worker do next? Guess where the first step is? Where do you think the first step is being displayed?
If the question asks, what should
What
the
should the
social worker do
social worker
next?
do next? Uh-huh.
So the first step has already happened.
And it's telling you, it's normally going to tell you in that vignette, the social worker has done blah, blah, blah. So what should she do next? There's a family that came in and they are homeless. The social worker already called a family center for housing. So what should the social worker do next? You see, it already told you what she's already done. So now you have
hmm
to find what's next. You said, mm-hmm, like, mm-mm.
It trips me up when it doesn't say what they've done first. And then it just says
So,
next.
but that means you have to read that question.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go through these. Once you're gonna put them in order as best as you can, and then you're gonna eliminate two if you have four choices, and then you're gonna start asking yourself, are feelings involved in this? Is safety involved in this? Did I acknowledge the feelings? Did I explore safety? Did I ask all the questions I needed to ask without putting too much in this vignette to come up with the correct answer? Okay.
Does the first normally involved assessment then? Like there was some assessment done first?
How can I answer that? Um, I want to say yes, but the reason I am going to, so Mill, tell me what assessing is first before I answer that question. What do you understand assessing to be?
Like when you explore, you do safety, so you know what's happening with the client, what is the client in need for? Do I need to ask more questions to get some extra information before I actually know for like planning, like what is it
Okay,
that we need to do for the client?
perfect. So, because you understand what assessing is, Mill, that's why you're going to have to use your critical thinking skills when you're looking at the question, because it's not going to always be assessed first, but you
Okay.
are always assessing. I know I
Okay.
confused you, or did it make sense?
I, yeah, I think I'm getting what you're trying to say.
So you're always assessing because you gotta always ask your client questions. You ask questions
Mhm.
the beginning, the middle, and the end. Um, but if if the client again is in the session and you're assessing them and they start crying, now you got to acknowledge their feelings. If you are assessing somebody and then they say they're suicidal or homicidal, now you have to assess for safety, which now you got to
Mhm.
start asking questions. Do you have a plan? Is there what the intentions are? Do you have a gun? Do you have a knife? You know, blah, blah, blah. If you are assessing someone and you're trying to put an intervention in place, well, you got to ask them questions so that you all can come up with a good intervention to assist with resolving the problem.
Mhm. That's what tripped me up on the question I asked earlier that I remembered on the test about that 8-year-old in school because he was not
Mhm.
wanting to go home.
Mhm.
And that's why I was like, I don't know what to do at that point. It was either, I eliminated two answers, but it was either call CPS or find out more information
Do
because it
you
had
remember the whole question?
not really, but I believe it had a feelings in it because he felt a certain way about going home and nobody knew why.
So you probably needed to, because they didn't know why.
Hmm.
You got to ask him more questions. Why do you not want to go home? What's going on in your environment that's causing you not to want to go home? Make sense?
Yeah.
So
Because I did answer it correctly then, if that's the case. But anyway,
do you remember the answer?
we don't get the answers.
Oh,
So,
this is on the real test. I was thinking it was a
oh no,
practice
this is
test.
on the real test
Oh,
that
okay.
you're making me think of other questions that were definitely on the real test. So I answered the one about finding out more information from the
Mm-hmm.
kid, but again, does the test always want you to call CPS or DCPMP? That's
Not always.
right.
That's the
That's where I
thing.
get tripped up.
That's what the test is doing to assess you to see if you know when to call versus when to put something else in place. Because
Got it.
it probably, what you just gave, it sounds like you needed to ask him more questions before you just assume you need to call CPS. But
Okay.
there's going to be times where you just got to call CPS.
I see what you mean. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and
Mhm.
that's why I was telling Neil I couldn't answer that yes or no. Because when I first started
Mhm.
taking this exam, I studied under a particular person, and she would always say, Always assess, always assess. So every time I would take the exam, I thought I should always assess and acknowledge. And it was more to it than that. And so I was getting my answers wrong because I was trying to assess everything. But in general, assess means you're going to be assessing a person throughout the whole stage. So remember, you got to rule out medical. Before moving forward, you're going to rule out medical, you're going to rule out safety. We're on medical now. So before moving forward, while you assessing me, or kind of listen to this, for a mental health disorder or a medical disorder, the question would state that the client was referred for an assessment of a mental health disorder, or may just list symptoms that could be medically caused or emotionally caused. So there could be somebody saying it's a UFO flying around, somebody saying it's spiders crawling up their skin, somebody said their vagina is itching, somebody who's saying that they can't stop sweating, somebody who indicates that they're going through alcohol withdrawal. So ruling out medical first is important, because if it's a medical issue, you cannot continue to see that person in real life, and you cannot continue to see them on the exam. Questions, comments, or concerns about ruling out medical first?
Nope.
Oh, clear.
Hmm.
That's clear.
Okay. When it comes to the generalist practice model, again, we talked about this: engage, building that rapport, being actively involved, listening. One of the test questions is about active listening. We don't always talk. It is okay to be silent on the exam. When you're reading a test question, sometimes there's periods where your client just needs to get themselves together. They're crying, and you say, "So, are you okay?" And they go, "Mm-mm." Just, like a 3 to 5 second pause, and then you say, "Can we proceed? How do you want to proceed?" So that's what that active listening is. And remember, everything is not spoken all the time. Feelings are not always spoken. It could be shaking, it could be constant bouncing their legs or whatever. So pay attention to the nonverbal as well. We talked about assessment, we talked about planning, we talked about intervention, we talked about evaluation. The reason this is repetitive is to make sure you see it in multiple facets so that it can really start making sense. You are terminating at the beginning. As soon as you start meeting with a client, you are terminating. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a few minutes left. Who wants to do number one? That question.
I'll
Nobody?
try.
Okay, go for it. Thank you.
A family was referred by the neurologist. The family consists of the husband, wife, and daughter. The couple reports marital challenges starting after the husband had a seizure. For the next 6 months, the husband suffered from several seizures and was diagnosed with epilepsy. The wife also says that her husband now has recurrent anger outbursts, has no interest in personal hygiene, and is fearful of being left alone. The daughter says that her mother is now overprotective and has become bossy. The daughter describes herself as nervous when her father tries to do anything by himself. The social worker should first.
You just caught what you did, didn't you?
Yeah, it's these long questions that really
So
get.
what was you supposed to have done first, Lindsay?
I know it's the L.
So what's the hell? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. And see, just because you didn't read that last sentence first, when you started reading that vignette, it was just like, man, it's too much.
I know. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Social
So
worker
start
should
over,
first.
Lindsay. Let's start over.
Yep. The social worker should first.
Okay.
What should the social worker do first? Then it's the I, which is, I don't know.
We're gonna take that out of our vocabulary.
I know.
Mm. Mia, you want to help her?
Please.
Identify the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Anybody know what the problem is? Gloria?
Um, that the husband suffered several seizures and was diagnosed with epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the husband now has anger outbursts and no interest in personal hygiene.
Yep. And before that, was everything okay?
Sounds like it.
It does. So I'm going to read it, and we all are doing an excellent job. The social worker should first. So this is the first question. So a family was referred by a neurologist. So that means a family had went to see somebody, and that person said, "Hey, y'all need to go see a neurologist because it was something medical going on." The family consists of the husband, wife, and daughter. This is a family that came in to see this neurologist. The couple reports marital challenges that started after the husband had a seizure. So he was okay and their marriage was good, but then he started having seizures. And for the next 6 months, the husband suffered from several seizures and was diagnosed with epilepsy. So after they found out he had the seizures, 6 months passed, and then he was diagnosed by a doctor with epilepsy. If you all don't know, epilepsy is a seizure disorder. So now it's a name attached to these seizures he's having. The wife also says that her husband now has recurrent anger outbursts, something probably related to the seizure. He has no interest in personal hygiene, which means he don't like bathing, brushing his teeth, combing his hair, probably related to the seizure, and is fearful of being left alone. Most definitely related to the seizure. All of this is life-changing events. Now the daughter gonna tell her part. The daughter says that her mother is now overprotective and has become bossy. That has scared the mom seeing her husband like that. So she like, let me double check my daughter. And now she's bossy. That's a feeling. The daughter describes herself as nervous when her father tries to do anything by himself. The daughter in change too. She like, Lord, if my daddy do something, he might have a seizure. He might die. I don't want to put too much in it because I don't want you all to overthink. So now we're back at the end. The social worker should first A, explore the family's feelings about the effects of the seizure. B, create a situation which places the husband in a dependent role. C, obtain a complete history of the marital and family relationships. D, arrange individual treatment sessions for the husband. Anybody want to take a jab at the answer?
B, I mean A, explore the family's feelings.
Okay, Mia, you're saying A, Lindsay?
I'm between A and C.
Give me one.
A.
A. Gloria?
Um, mm, I'm feeling a groupthink coming on. Um,
Don't
A.
overthink, Gloria. Okay, A. You all have it correct. Explore the family feelings about the effects of the seizure. When we put this back in the vignette, it fits there perfect. This family had a great life until the man started having seizures. His seizures, they all came in as a family unit. He got a diagnosis. They found out his seizures is really epilepsy, and everything just went down here from there. The daughter became nervous. The mama became overprotective. The husband, it's a life-changing event. This is feelings. Everybody feelings was talked about in that vignette. Y'all remember me keep saying during assessments, let's acknowledge people feelings. We cannot move on until we talk about these folks' feelings. Make sense?
Got it.
Did it really make sense? So did it tie back into when I said pay attention to feelings, pay attention to medical, pay attention to safety? That's what you're looking for. It was feelings when everybody got nervous, got bossy, became overprotective. Those were all feelings.
When you said the bossy was a feeling, that's when it clicked.
Mm-hmm. All right, as we close out, Mia, what did you get out of tonight's session?
A lot. The liked strategy, identifying the client, the first page that you shared at the beginning, because he came back to that one. Is this a family? Is this just a client? So remember that, like identifying if it's a client, and the rest of that I have to go back and read again to remember, but
Mm-hmm.
identifying all of that before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it did help tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Okay.
a lot.
Lindsay, what did you get?
This was huge because what I didn't do is what I need to do is pick it apart because I just read the question and then I become overwhelmed and then my brain shuts down because I know Mill knows this, but I had 3 concussions in 2023. So that's on top of it. So I have
Yeah.
accommodations for the test and whatnot, but
Okay,
still that
perfect.
makes it worse. So I have to read that last question first so I can focus more.
There you go.
And that the listing helps so much.
That helps. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. Gloria?
Just taking it slow and stop. And it's
Mm-hmm.
my subconscious. I don't know. I unconscious. I just overthink a little too much than I thought that I did. Even in this last question, when I was between B and what was it,
Mm-hmm.
A and C, the explorer gave it away a little bit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the
Mm-hmm.
answer. So you got
Mm-hmm.
to be very careful with that explore because it could sound like the right answer, but reading the
Mm-hmm.
complete sentence where one said explore their feelings, where the other one was, I think, get assess. I don't remember what C is, but it said something about assessing more about the family dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
which for me was like, ooh, okay, wait, roles. And then I was going to go down the rabbit hole, and then I stopped myself. But I would have been stuck between B and well, A and C for a
Mm-hmm.
second.
Yep.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because it
Did
doesn't
tonight help you,
really
Gloria?
just because you have explored, that doesn't mean that's the right answer.
And I'm glad you
Mm-hmm.
said that and keep thinking it. So, Mill, that's what I was trying to say to you. It's not, you just gotta know the
Mhm,
content. I would
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
be wrong to tell you yes and no. And then that's why I was trying to give you the examples. So please don't go off that acronym. Like we gotta explore it first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're always assessing. So that's why I said, but you got to be able to pull out those little pieces while you assessing to see what's what.
mhm.
So, yep.
Yeah.
Dr.
Well, I
Pro
think
will be happy that I wasn't overthinking as much as when I was with her.
that's good. So I think the next time, I don't know if it's Dr. Pam or I, but it
Pam is
won't
what I
be
meant.
this lesson again. Is it her? And again, if you all feel like you need individual sessions, you can come to Dr. Pam or myself. Just email the team and they'll let you know. If you don't get this information tonight, don't panic. You will get it tomorrow. Remember, organization, study, figure out what time measurements work best for you. And I'm glad you all got something out of tonight's session. We're trying to be a world
Yes.
changer, so just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you
No,
so
actually,
much.
do not keep doing what you're
No,
doing.
No, keep.
Do something different. I'm sorry.
that's
Do
why I had
Not
to
on
change
the
it up.
test. Not on the test. Don't keep doing what we're doing, but in our jobs.
I'm sorry. Mia eyes bug. I was like, wait a minute, no. Don't keep doing last sentence first. If you took nothing away from tonight, last sentence first. You want to start a change. It's like CBT. I'm not your therapist, but I'm trying to get you to see things a different way.
And there's just so many things out there that, sometimes I've always been Dr. Pam follower through
Mhm.
years, unfortunately. Um,
Good.
so so when I hear something different, I kind of like, I
Well,
want to
that's what
check
I
with
did.
Dr.
I've been
Pam.
using socialworkexam.com, and then I came to Dr. Pam.
Yeah,
Mm.
I had to
she's
change it up.
she's it. She's it.
Yeah,
This is it.
she is. She is. I'm gonna be like
And
her
so
one day
is
when I
and
grow
so
up.
and so are you, Sherry. You
Thank
guys are
Yes,
it.
you.
yes,
I'm
this
a
was
You
mini,
guys
great.
are it.
and believe it or not, she always tell me, you're like a mini version of me. But yeah.
You are.
I can see that.
You
So
are. And
I
I do
still
need to I will be sending you guys an email because they do need to tutoring. I'm
okay.
very close to my tests coming up in
Are you in
maybe three
August
weeks or so.
also?
No, I'm gonna test before August. I'm
Okay.
in a situation because now I think I've been in this for quite some time that even though I passed my law and ethics, I believe I need to retake it again, even though I passed it, because it's
Um,
so I either have to take the test or I have to take my law and ethics before August. So
okay.
I'm just gonna take a
Good.
shot at the big one for right now to see what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Fingers
Okay.
crossed.
Okay. Well, I
Why not?
enjoyed each of
Thank you.
you, and y'all have a great night. And
Thank
remember,
you.
study, study, study. Bye bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Oh,
Good
you.
you're
night.
welcome. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.